Good afternoon, YouTube. Hope everybody is doing well, and thanks for joining me here at the barn. I wanted to talk about compost tea. I know, right? It's that time of year again. You got to start thinking about your plants and how you're going to feed them through the late parts of summer. And one way that I like to do it is with compost tea, and it's never too soon to start a batch of compost tea. It really isn't. My experience, anything that sits in a container for more than 6 months really gets good. So if you can make it 6 months in advance, that's great. If you can make it 2 weeks in advance, that's great. It's going to do the same thing, just on a different scale. um, what it does do, think about swamp water, and you think about all the things that are in swamp water, all the plants that die and go in there, and all the tree material that falls in there, and all the leaves that fall in there. Um, it all sinks to the bottom, and it becomes a soil there as it decays, right? But that nutrient is released into the water, and the water becomes a very dark brown color, almost like some cases even golden, but dark brown. But everything leaches out of the wood material, of the plant material, whatever's in the water. Those nutrients leach out, and they suspend themselves in the water, and it makes it real easy then, once it's suspended in that water, to just go around and deliver nutrients to your plants at a nice measured pace. I would say a downside to it is you don't know what you're getting. You don't know how much nutrients you're going to get. So always treat it as if it's hot and dilute it. You know, if you're diluting it and you're not seeing the reaction you want, the greenness and stuff coming back in your plants, try diluting it a little less. But ideally, within 1 or 2 feedings, you should see everything perk up and green up, and really come back to life. That's if you've done the composting right. So, oh boy, I don't have anything ready. I, s- I- let's go around and grab a couple things, and we'll get this party started. So, all right. First thing I gotta do is I gotta get these out of here. Um, Switch buckets for those. You can hear my pump going off. Here's a dry one. I'm just gonna transfer them right into this big barrel. These are great. These electric fences, Pier 1, I believe they were called. No, they weren't called. Premier 1. It works well for both the goats and the chickens. Right, got that done. This is what I want to use for my batch of compost tea. It makes a good amount. We'll keep this down by the house, and if Julia wants to do the indoor plants, she'll be able to do that as well. So we got that. Now I got to get some water. Now you can do this step either way. I'm going to get some water first, but you can get your material first and put it in there. But let's grab the bucket of water. All right. Grab one more over here. We got these rain barrels. And this one is about a quarter of the way full now after taking 2 buckets of water out of it. But they're handy. All right. So my container, you could do this. You could do this in a bucket this size, a 5-gallon bucket. You could do it in something this size. You could do it in something much bigger, like those 55-gallon ones if you want. So we got some pretty good spots to get compost material. What I'm going to use is stuff out of the pig's pen and then some stuff out of the goat's pen. So let's start here at the pig's pen first. And and what I'm looking to get out of here is where they pooped mostly. That's the spot I'm going to anyhow. Doo-doo-doo. It's weird not having animals in here. There's a lot of material over here. So let's set up right here and we'll take some of this. Let me grab my shovel. I forgot my shovel. Doo-doo. So, like I said, anything works. I mean, if you were to compost it, you can do compost tea with it. So, um, you can use animal dung like I'm using. You can use hay, straw, grass clippings. I'm going to throw a little bit of probably all that in here. Definitely going to throw some hay clippings and some wood chips and stuff from over where the goats used to bed down. This stuff here is like pure gold. Pigs are pretty gross, but they do one thing that I admire. I think it's pretty sanitary. They go to the bathroom in one spot. So they'll find a spot in the pen and that'll become the spot that they poop in. And they do a pretty good job. Every once in a while you'll see them maybe out there grazing and they'll poop. But more than likely not. They'll hold it till they get back over by the. All right, so I got about a quarter of a bucket. That's a great start. Let's go hit up the goat pen and we'll get some stuff out of there. Whew. Yep. So we'll go, let's go to the goat pen real fast. Grab some of this stuff. Preferably something that they lay down and pooped in. Got the chair in here still. Oh, those goats. We'd sit in the chair and play with the goats, you know. This is great. It's got goat poop in it. It's got chicken poop in it. Plus it's hay and wood chips. So the way I make it up is I make it about a third water, about a third compost material, and then about a third of empty space. Here, let's take that over there. See how it looks. That way you got room to stir it. And if you're gonna leave it out, like I do, I leave it out and I leave it uncovered. It'll get rainwater in it, and it'll probably fill. So I hear my dog barking. All right, let's dump this in. All right. I should say, if you're smart, you'll make this in this spot where you're gonna use it. Now I got a tractor, so it won't be that hard to move this big barrel of water and compost tea. Grab my shovel, mix it up a little bit. I would say, like I said in the beginning of the video, it's better to have this sit in the liquid longer than shorter. But that said, a lot leaches out into the water almost immediately. A lot of the fines and the real loose stuff that gets encapsulated in water, and when you fill your little water container, you get all that nutrient in your water. So I'll show you guys the inside here, and it's nothing special, just compost. No different than what you would do with your regular compost, but you're mixing it in water. So real easy, right? Find a couple 5-gallon buckets. You can either use it to mix the material in, or maybe you only want to mix up a little 5-gallon batch, or you want to use it like I did and make some bigger. Any which way, it works out nice. It's such a great way to just isolate a few plants that may be struggling and dump this compost tea on it. You can water everything, of course, and that's what I do. I treat everything the same. If one of them's struggling, I'll treat them all as if they're all struggling, just because I anticipate it. So if they're yellowing and they're not getting enough nitrogen, this is a great fix for you. It'll bring back the green. I guarantee it. I guarantee. And everyone's got this stuff. If you live in an apartment complex, just go out and buy a. Well, that's kind of defeating the purpose. But was gonna say, go buy a bag of good soil and you could dump it in the water, make compost tea. But in reality, you could. I mean, you could buy a bag of compost, dump it into a 5 gallon bucket, and make it up into a a thing for watering your plants. Watering, of course, gets to the roots faster, and it's just a quicker release. Um, it shouldn't be used as a way not to compost. You always got to compost your plants come, about June, July, when they're running out of all that nutrients from the spring. You got to usually put in some more compost, but it having the tea helps tremendously as well. So I don't know. I'd be curious to see if you folks have used it. I'm sure a lot of you have. I just made the video because I was getting ready to make up my own. Um, I figured I'd film it, but I'm sure a lot of you use compost tea. Think of it as this: these things happen in the forest, right? How many of us have seen a puddle with a bunch of leaves in it? And leaves are all decayed and dark. That water gets. Um, this is just replicating that. That's all it is. So, but I thank you folks for watching, and have a great day.